I've set up a new social media monitoring dashboard, and I'll be honest, it's not been a huge amount of fun, but I'll talk you through what's been happening with it shortly. And let's assign this one to a new folder. You'll see in a moment what I'm talking about. Okay. So, my name is Laurel Papworth. If you are hearing anything funny, could you let me know? I think the Blackmagic ATEM Mini Pro ISO issues, which has to do around thermal crackling, have gone. But if you do hear a little crackle, please let me know. And not just me hitting the camera by accident, as usual. I'm a social media strategist, and on Mondays I check my tech, any changes that I've made. Oh, and this just arrived. But I haven't had a chance to open it. And yes, it's from Amazon. And I have a policy of not buying from Amazon, but I literally couldn't get it from anywhere else. And decided to bite the bullet. So I think if I buy something from Amazon once a year, then maybe I'll be forgiven. On Mondays, when I'm testing my tech, I also like to catch up on my social media news for the week. So I look at what Facebook Australia has been doing, what Twitter Australia has been doing, TikTok Australia, LinkedIn Australia. And if you're not watching from Australia, you don't have to watch this. There are mostly, though, I'll be honest with you, we get the discards from the international newsrooms, the international PR teams, which are based out of the campus in the USA, and some of it from the data research centres in Europe and Asia, and also from Singapore, Asia. Well, in the case of Facebook, Instagram, it's Singapore, Asia. So I'm not sure what Australia PR does. If you know, let me know. So Facebook app Australia. So the tech that I've been testing is software. There's some hardware, but we'll get to that. And it's a service called Inno Reader. I-N-O Reader. There's been a problem. I wanted to bring in the Facebook Media RSS feed for media. This is a microsite. It was always run on WordPress. I don't know what it's run on now. And you go to the blog. And I want to bring in the news from here because it's specifically how Facebook informs journalists, editors, media companies of what they're doing, what's going on, that sort of thing. So it's specifically for media. It's a microsite with an extremely targeted audience of media. And Inno Reader says they can't bring in the media feed for media. And I went backwards and forwards with them, and then in the end what they said is you have to sign in. And they said if you go to incognito window and you put for media in here, that it gives you a popover which says that you have to agree to cookies. I don't get it. I don't get the popover. And also, I don't get I don't understand how a newsreader doesn't pull the feed anyway, because every site in Europe now, every site has to conform with the, is it GDRP or something like that? What does it stand for? General Data Protection Regulation, GDRP. And that means that they always, thank you, Greg Hall on LinkedIn, crystal clear audio at this end. The GDPR, why did I say RP? Whatever. Is the protection regulation which says you have to agree to terms and conditions, or you have to agree, you have to agree to use the cookies for using the site. And that means that Inno Reader's pretty well useless for Europe. Is it? I don't know. I would have thought that given that other feed readers that I use, if I'm logged into a paywall, it allows me to access the content behind the paywall because the feed reader is able to read that I'm logged into that media side of that, or that I'm paying for a subscription. So it's really bizarre that Inno Reader can't do this. I don't know. It's Black Friday deal. I got an additional 6 months, so it was a value add, not a discount. I doubt that I'll be renewing unless somebody knows of a fix. Now, what I have done is added the RSS subscription extension. And this should be able to give me a RSS link so that I can pull the link in. I will say it's not Inno Reader's fault completely, maybe 51%. 49% of it is Facebook. If Facebook doesn't understand that media use RSS readers to keep up to date on all their media sources, all their original sources, that they track blogs and other media sites and companies and all kinds of things, that just goes to show you that Facebook doesn't understand distributive media. And I guess they don't have to, because after all, they own the platform and it's a central resource. But one of the reasons why traffic on this would be low is because of the lack of even an extract-based RSS feed to drive traffic back. Facebook doesn't do a lot of investment in PR and awareness raising around their programs. They just kind of throw it out there and expect you to find it. And I do. So that's the tech that I'm testing, Inno Reader. So we're going to go into Inno Reader now and have a look and see what we can find, I guess. I haven't added everything to it that I need to add to it, but that's okay. We'll have a look and see. I believe I can export it's not an XML, what is it called? OPML from my other news readers and bring it into Inno Reader, so I really need to do that. If you're a social media strategist, what news reader are you using? I'm talking specifically here about RSS feed readers. I'm not talking about Hootsuite, where you type in an update and distribute your own content. I'm talking about monitoring other people's content that aren't attached to a hashtag that you know, or a Twitter list that you know, or something like that. What do you use? Back to here. Okay. So Facebook for creators. What's this one? Storytelling on Facebook with Caitlin, Roxanne, Jordan, and Dan. And this is all that Facebook does when they're promoting content. Like there's no call to action here to really help us understand if this is something that we want to watch. So there's no argument as to why storytelling is important. And I would say that a good portion of people that run a small business might have clicked on this because they think their kids might like to watch some story time. That's not what it would be about. It would be about the importance of storytelling, and then you would compare that to, for instance, EduSocial, so education, and you can have storytelling as part of education as well. Extracts. Come on, guys, write your extracts. So this is from the Facebook Journalism Project. So I've pulled the feed in for the Journalism Project. So it's about the food pantry for Ground Truth's Projects Report for America. And I don't know what the Facebook Journalism Project is proud to support them. And there's placed 225 journalists in local newsrooms to report on undercovered issues in communities. So this is peer-to-peer based journalism. This is independent journalism in the way that movies are independent. So movies used to be created under a Hollywood system. So the Rupert Murdochs of the world back in those days were Goldwyn Mayer and Warner Brothers and things like that. And they took writers on contract, they took actors on contract. So an actor was under contract for 7 films or 7 years or whatever. And so journalism has historically been done the same way. And we're seeing the breakup of that for both good and for bad. So you see user-generated content via what would be called blogs back in the day, and today are, Breitbart and right-wing media and left-wing media. And they've learned to be independent media and to monetize in their own way, and they have their own agenda. The big studio systems of media, the Fox Newses and those kind of organizations are breaking down. So you're seeing a lot of journalists leaving newsrooms, or you're seeing the journalist now being the journalist, the sub-editor, the editor, and everything else. And I actually know of some very well-known ones that have picked up videography and editing, and so they can shoot the videos and ask the questions and host MC the video. What am I trying to say? You know what I mean. Problematic. One thing I have seen is peer-to-peer sites. So somebody will put up that they want to investigate something and then ask people to pitch in. So it becomes something like Patreon, the other one, Kickstarter, Indiegogo, those kind of peer-to-peer sites, except it's around journalism. So the Ground Truths projects, I wonder what exactly Ground Truth is. Let's have a quick look at that. I've got a funny feeling I've got it bookmarked and I looked into it. I don't think that's... to provide trustworthy and actionable understanding of local communities. So there's funding to put private journalists into newsrooms so that the media company don't have to pay the journalists. And is this them? Let's have a look and see if it says something here about partners, which I think is Facebook and the others. Come on, guys. So, I might pull this into my newsreader. No Kid Hungry. I think this is them. Right, I need to do more investigations with them. I'm interested specifically in peer-to-peer media and new funding models where the studio system is no longer, you're not working for the CNN or the Washington Post anymore. You're now working either piecemeal as an independent producer or for an independent media company that finds its funding in other ways, like independent movies find fundings in other ways. What's that company that George Clooney and one of the Facebook founders created? Peter Thiel movies. No, not Three Gawkers. It's called... it starts with P. Peter Thiel is an interesting guy. Watch what he does. Somebody who was an early PayPal mafia dude and then an early Facebook dude and an early peer-to-peer currency, Bitcoin-y type dude and a libertarian. Always interesting. It's called, starts with P, it's called something Pictures. Oh, I don't know. This is why I have to sit down on a Monday morning and focus, because if I don't, I jump down rabbit holes and I start tracking things. So I know what it's called. I've written on it. I've got a blog post on it. I will look it up. And it's Peter Thiel's production company. And they do a lot of awareness raising movies. So agenda-based movies. So we're not, whereas media is trying to be independent, movies are not. Movies have a message because historically people connect to messages more than to independence. In a sense, I guess being independent and being objective is overrated because we're not that impressed with the stories. Let me just bring this up. Is video journalist the term based on the practice that SBS here in Australia adopted to keep its premier current affairs Dateline program? Yeah, video journalists. And they have to learn audio mics, they have to learn cameras, and then they have to learn editing on top of the normal work that they would do. Okay, back to here. New monetization opportunities for creators on Facebook. They're going after... Did we look at this the other day? I have a feeling we did, but they don't put dates on their stuff. Because, hey, why would you give media dates? So... Oh, this is rights management. Yeah, I'm sure we covered this. Yeah, we did. This is under Creator Studio on the left-hand side, and I'm working with companies currently that own the rights to music, like big global music brands, to movies and things like that. So they can list and enforce their thingies there. Let's move on. I want to find a Facebook Australia one. Here we go. Here's how you can give back without leaving your home. Okay. Facebook, you're so crap at doing social media. This is what happens when you own the channel. It's all images. Let's rely on the object recognition to, why don't you use a hashtag? So here's a tip. Facebook Australia, read the For Media section. The For Media section tell journalists how to use hashtags and why they're important. Facebook Australia, you need to go and have a chat with the other department on why hashtags are important. So hashtag NFP, hashtag lend a hand, hashtag Giving Tuesday, whatever it is that's going on. What was last... No, I don't want that one. Okay. Send a smile. Send a smile challenge. So they've got their own hashtag. And tag 3 besties. I thought the terms and conditions of even awareness campaign says you can't tag a friend for business use, but whatever. The comments are classic. And they haven't changed their cover photo since 2015. Top tip for algorithm goodness. And obviously if you're a Facebook page of Facebook, you don't have to worry about this. But for everybody else who wants to optimize, try and change your cover photo once a season, which is once a quarter. Preferably once a month within a 28-day monthly active user, MAU, usage. And if you're serious about optimizing, change your cover photo once a week, as if it's a weekly magazine and you've got you're doing awareness campaigns. And so change your cover photo. Also, you'll be able to go in here and there'll be an edit button if it's your page. Edit it and use your words so that the algorithm can pick up on what this is about. At the moment, it's probably picking up on 3 faces. It doesn't know who those 3 faces belong to because of the social graph and the connection between you. So you really need to go in and edit the text, change this regularly, and probably once every 4.5, 5 years is not enough. So yes, if you're just joining us, my name is Laurel Papworth. I'm a social media strategist. On Mondays, I catch up on my tech, I catch up on my social media news, and I give random rants on things that I see and that I think could be done better. And I don't mind using large companies to teach small companies what's what. Our H1 2020 transparency report. 6 days ago. Guidelines. Twice a year since 2013 they've been doing the report. Okay, I think I covered that last time. YouTube blog, Facebook newsroom. Today, the Oversight Board selected a case referred by Facebook regarding a post in a group that appears to exist for Muslims in India. The post contains a statement about a sword being taken from its scabbard if people speak against the Prophet. And it references Macron. They took the post down. Let me get rid of me so you guys can read it too. I don't know if you can see it clearly. By the way, if you're on a platform that downgrades the connection, you have to go to the cog and say you want to see HD, and then you can read what I'm reading. Okay, so this is about dog whistling. Look, I can put up an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, and it's a quote from the Bible. And then you have to think about, am I inciting you to violence? Am I quoting from the Bible objectively? Or am I doing something in the middle? And what we often see with dog whistling is that for an outsider, it just looks like a quote from the Bible or from the Bodhisattva, it can be from the Kama Sutra, from the Quran. It can be from a quote from history. But if it's being used to dog whistle, if people are hearing it and being incited to do something that they believe they've been told to do, then it needs to be looked at. It sort of sits there, dog whistling sits there for me with gaslighting. If I was to say to you something like, I'm not saying you should go and be violent against these people, but I'm saying I would totally understand it. Different people hearing that would hear different things. So there's obviously an oversight board. And, meet the board. Let's make some new friends. Social media platforms, outside experts and civic leaders. We embrace our responsibility from around the world. So they've brought in a bunch of academics and lecturers and chancellors and editors from around the world. And who is this for? Is this for all platforms? Have all platforms signed up, or is this just for Facebooks? We've got Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram there. FAQ. So it's for Facebook and Instagram. What a shame Twitter Australia won't join it, given how much harassment there is of women. Okay, so that's the oversight board. I will take to the news section and I'll show you what I do. I copy that link. I can't find a feed there. I'm going to go back to Inno Reader and go to visual. I'll find another folder for it later on. I click subscriptions and feed, and I type in the oversight board. And I'm going to ask it to find me a feed. And so I can create an RSS feed. I think I'm allowed to do 10 of these. I have to use the manual setup tab. And then it's going to pull in the CSS and then ask me. No, nothing works. That's the problem with Inno Reader. Okay. I'm not sure what to do. I think I'm going to leave Inno Reader and go back to Feedly and fetch RSS. I can read the article fine in Periscope. Griff, which article? I think I've gone on ahead and I didn't notice your comment. That's 3 minutes ago. Okay. By the way, if you're wanting to know how I'm live streaming to Twitter, I'm using Periscope. So you connect to Periscope and then that streams you to Twitter. Periscope, I believe, owned by Twitter, something like that. So I'm going back to the Facebook newsroom. All right. Now I need to add some others in. It didn't like the Twitter blog. My other feed reader users can bring in the Twitter blog okay. And again, this is Twitter not understanding RSS. You do have to choose when you're using the manual setups, you have to choose the heading, the image, the author, the date, and you click on the fields for those, and then afterwards it always finds that in the CSS and pulls it in. Let's see what the business one's talking about. I do read the developer and engineer ones, but they take a bit of time. Oh, good. Thank you, Griff. Oh, of course, yes. So what I suggested was that if you can't read my screen, then go to HD using the little cog. All right. So we get that one. We have to accept the cookies for it. I wonder if the websites realize they're blocking journalists from accessing their feeds by having Google calls them interstitial overlays, and they've always downgraded websites that have interstitial overlays, particularly ones that block content. And not always, they've done it for about 2.5 years now, SEO wise. So I don't know what the solution is. I think that people should be opting into pixel remarketing, but most of them, people just click yes because they're trying to get to a piece of content. So it's just not helpful. There must be another way to solve this problem. Twitter for Business. In a month of tweet ideas for brands on Twitter. Yeah, how well is this going to work? So FAQ, retweet, pro tip, retweet with comment, behind the scenes pic. A video, go live, one-liner, shout out, blah, 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 blah. Now, where this doesn't work, and I absolutely think setting up content calendar, a engagement calendar, an influencer calendar, promotions calendar, creating all the different ones, putting them together is incredibly important. Here's some issues for me. One is we're not covering the weekends, and there are certain times on the weekend that are critical. So for small business, for instance, it's Sunday afternoon. So this is extremely general, and I think it's a good basis to look at it and then to say, okay, I'm going to take this list and then I'm going to put another 50 things on it and then I'm going to compile my own list. But another one is that video is for people who watch videos, obviously. And the algorithm identifies them as a specific kind of story type. And that story type is called a visual story type. There are some people who do not play videos. They're readers. They like to read articles. They'll read the Washington Post. They'll read a recipe. They do not watch videos of recipes. And for those text story types, you have to decide if your news feed is for text story types or visual story types. And don't tell me it's for both, because almost every algorithm, I don't know with Twitter because they're so behind. They're like 5 years behind. But with Facebook, the head of the news feed is a guy by the name of Adam Mosseri, something like that. Actually, he left Facebook news feed and went to the Instagram news feed, but he talks about the story types that they've identified, that there are people that only click on articles and read, and there are people that only look at images and one-liners. So when you have here something like, let me get me out of the way. When you have something here like a one-liner next to two image-based social media assets, you could end up in trouble, because now the algorithm's getting confused. Is your preferred audience the visual story type or the text story type? We try to stick with one. If you're ever not sure, go into your analytics and look at post by content type, and you'll see what the algorithm's picked for you. If you have more than 2,000, I think it is, subscribers, you'll see in your analytics which one's working. What I would also suggest for your programming guide is think about your audience and their... You don't just want a list of content, you want an actual EPG, an electronic programming guide. You want them to get used to the fact that at 10:30, okay, 10:45 on a Monday morning, someone named Laurel Papworth does the social media news. And that means that people get into the habit of thinking, oh, it's almost time for the news. Think about you watching the news in the evening. Now, I know that video on demand, VOD, or we've got hot and cold running news clips now. We can watch live streaming on YouTube, or we can watch specific clips on YouTube, that kind of thing. But still, people who want to watch stuff live, particularly when we're doing interaction, when I'm asking you, come and ask me a question, come and chat with me, you can't do that if you watch this on Thursday. You have to watch it on Monday morning. Sorry. Thursdays, I'm busy. So actually Thursdays at 1 p.m. I do a live, but I do a tutorial, a lecture style. This is just a free form kind of news update thing on Mondays. Which reminds me, we're almost, where are we in? We're at 33 minutes. Okay. Come back to here again. What's happening to my hair? Oh, I need to wash it. Okay. Choose a particular type of content, story time, long text, or short hits, or video, images, something like that, and try and stick with it. And when social media strategists tell you to do images, you've always got to do images. It's just because 82% of the population are visual story types, but they may not be your audience. If you're an author, stay away from the visual. You want readers in your network, and readers will bypass images, and you'll find that you have a small percentage take up or cut through with algorithm optimization, the ability to get through into the news feeds. Whoopsie, sorry, just knocked the mic. What else do we have here? Motivational Monday, Giving Tuesday, Follow Friday. I think that's gone now. Throwback Thursday. Under successful past tweet here, you could do a Throwback Thursday. And what else have we got here? Retweet with a comment is an engagement one. Retweet could be an influencer one. Key piece of content, I think that's owned media, so that's one you've created yourself. Distributed media would be a link to your to your content. That would be follow Friday is your shout out. Anyway, give you some ideas. We do quite involved social media guides, and I can show you one of mine. Let me just go in and hide the others, and then I'll throw it up for you to have a look at. Turn that one off, that one off. No, you don't need to see what bills I have to pay this week. Turn that one off. What else do we have? Turn that one on. Training, 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 training. Yeah, that'll do. There we go. All right, get rid of me. You know what I look like. So purple is a content calendar. You could have a job of the week. I've got Motivational Monday up there as well, and helpful tips on a Saturday morning when people have got time to actually sit down and look at them. I've done an analytics calendar, so make a point to download all of your CSVs from all of your platforms. That's the original full 80 pages of Excel spreadsheets from Facebook, from Twitter, from wherever, because you do lose that data after a while. So you want to keep them. Just make a note in your diary to download them. Submit an analytics report or to analyze it. Just writing it for yourself helps. Excuse me. What else do we have here? We have an engagement calendar, which is orange. So ask me anything Thursday. Mine's actually on Mondays. I should move that over there if I'm testing it that way. But ask me anything, or if you're a politician, it's called Town Hall, Zoom Town Hall. But it's where people can ask you questions and you answer them. So it's engagement. It's focusing around engagement. It's not, I've got this stuff to tell you. It's about asking people to ask you questions. Hump day questions. How do you get through the week? I don't know, some sort of basic question that you have. I've put it down here in the evening because we know Wednesday night is Wine Wednesday. It's also Mummy Loves Wine. So Wednesday is often when people sit down and watch telly, and they're more likely to engage with some sort of engagement strategy that way. Fan Photo Friday. These are engagement type posts. For influencer posts, influencer team meetings, we call them PR teams or social PR teams. It's where the PR agency is working with the social media PR team to co-create products, co-create branding, co-create strategies, to ask the influencers if they'll be engaged with certain things. There's tons of different ways of working with influencers, and chucking free stuff at them and then getting mad at them because they didn't create the content you wanted from it. It's probably not the best way to work with influencers. So creating PR, what do they call them in the stationery industry? Calls them the creative team, which I think is so cute. But the influencers fight to get onto that team. It's kind of, you know what it means. It's an industry thing. What else do we have here? We have, the in-house calendar. Make notes. Make notes of all the critically important things like end of quarter, knowing your budget's coming to an end, or that you're running an offsite, or you're renovating the office, because you'll be amazed at how often your social media content calendars, engagement calendars, influencer calendars clash with the fact that everything's been locked up because it was a public holiday or you couldn't get to whatever it was you wanted to do. What's that one? One's in the wrong one. Oh no, that's promotions. So for promotions, I make mine bright red. Unfortunately, it's not showing up on the screen so much. I've got orange, pink and bright red. I need to change the colours of the others. I need some blues and stuff in there, and I'll do that later. But if you have a call to action to ask people to do something, not engagement's them just chatting, but sign up for our survey, use our coupon, enter a competition, that's a promotion, anything that's promotion based, any ads that you're running should be marked in bright red. And if you have more bright red on your content calendar than you have any other colors, then you're in trouble, because both people out there and the algorithm will see you as a me media or pushy all the time. And algorithms in particular think that you should be paying for promotions because you've not earned them. So if you think about your channel as article, promotion, you should be seeing 3 other colors and 1 red, if that makes sense. And just to clarify, come back here, have a look. You'll see what I'm talking about. Okay, let's move on. What else does Twitter want to tell me? Let's go back to business again. Twitter is the #1 platform for discovery. Source: Twitter internal data. Okay, that's fine. 50. I wonder when that was. I don't. No, sorry, no. Pinterest might be #1. Platform might. TikTok might be. Facebook absolutely is pretty high. Twitter, no. Twitter's fantastic for rants. Twitter's, if you're a company, Twitter's good for understanding crisis comms. And by understanding crisis comms, I mean when people have poor customer service, Twitter's the #1 place to go for that. Not Facebook, because they know that how they understand better how niche those feeds are and how difficult it is for people to see it. Twitter, they know they can go viral. Twitter's #1 for politics, absolutely, without a doubt. Particularly in Australia, Ozpol is massive. Ozpol's the largest hashtag in the world according to Twitter internal data, but that's beside the point. Q&A often trends. Twitter might be for sport and for media. Media, I mean entertainment. And that's because they put all of their energy and their money into account managers for sports and for movies and things like that. I tend not to work with sports platforms, but I do work with lots of movie companies, national, international, Australian and global. This is declarative, and the problem I have with declarative, if you're not running an AI semantic engine, and I think Twitter analytics, it was called Blue Whale, Blue Fish, Blue something. Must include Blue Sky. No, not Blue Sky. Why is my brain? Maybe it is Blue Sky. No, it's not Blue Sky. I don't like Blue Sky. Blue Sky always means something in the future, or vaporware, or I'm going to sell you the sizzle because we don't have the sausage, if you know that saying. Blue, it's not Blue Kite. It was something like Blue Wow. I thought it was Blue Fish. Another one I need to look up. Monday, it's about getting the old brain cells working again. I'm just writing this down on actual pen and paper. I don't know. Maybe it is Blue Sky. What a poor name. Blue Sky, the thing you sell people when you don't have a product. Okay, and maybe that's it. Maybe that's the reason why the analytics lags behind all the others. 53% of people on Twitter are more likely to be the first to buy new products. Yes, I think so. But don't forget their tech story types, which often means they lean towards the engineer, techie, geeky, psychographic, and they are early adopters. So a lot of what we have technology-wise in the world is because engineers like to absorb their information in dot points. That's why they like the one-liners of Twitter, and also journalists like the headline nature of Twitter distribution. Better monitors, having a mouse is because engineers during the day go home and play computer games at night and other things, which we don't need to mention. And they want to improve their services. Yeah, Greg, analog. I was writing down on a piece of paper. But they want for engineer psychographics, they want quick hit information, and they don't necessarily want the polished videos. You know, like if I was Oracle, IBM, I'd lay off of those kind of consumer style, almost movie style videos, unless it was really showcasing some cool piece of tech. And I mean showcasing the tech, not just doing a slow-mo over a keyboard or something. I would actually have to show the tech working so that the engineer psychographic, but would they even click on the video to watch it? Probably, because I mean a lot of the videos on YouTube that are really, really popular are tech. Justine and some of those to one side, because she's an absolute filmmaker, so she does a very polished presentation of tech. But I've seen some of the top tech guys just sit there and just do what I'm doing, but to one camera. They don't even do the old vision switching stuff like I do, because I would assume that the engineering, techie, geeky type of tech story types are listening and only switching across to look when they say something like, have a look at my new, I don't know, Samsung blah blah. People spend 26% more time viewing ads on Twitter than on other leading platforms. See, a lot of these are from 2017, 2018. Here's a question for you. What do you think is going to happen to Twitter when Trump is no longer president? I don't think he's going to become irrelevant. It seems unlikely. I think he'll go even more mad on Twitter. But will we fatigue? It's a little bit like opinion journalists. If you're used to watching I really have to wash my hair. I know, care factor 0, guys. If you're used to watching the Bolts, the Miranda Devines, and in America, who's Hannity, Sean Hannity, if you're used to watching them, how do they stay relevant? And often they do it by chopping and changing and moving around lots and lots of different topics. I don't know if people get fatigued or if people just like to have them on just so they can nod and say, yeah, that's how I feel, or to be outraged. But can we sustain outrage? I don't know. When I do workshops on voice, one of the things I point out is you can take the shock jock voice, but it's extremely tiring. On YouTube, they're called the drama channels. And if you want to have some fun, go and have a look up the makeup drama channel. There's some court cases going on at the moment. They're all going crazy about it. Here, we'll have a look at some of these. I don't actually want to play the ads. So who's this? No, she's not a drama channel. She's watching drama channels. Drama channels are toxic. Yes, they are. So this one's called The Spill Sesh. And they bully the same people. So in a sense, it's like women's magazines. So Woman's Day and No Idea and all of those. And as much as those ones go on and bully Meghan Markle or some movie star, different people. We've got Spill Sesh, Jane Dawson called out. And then there's cancel culture stuff. Tati is suing a drama channel. And some of them have shut down because they've been sued for bullying, I think. Drama Investigator. And I separate out the drama channels from the legal channels because the legal channels are Lawyer Reacts To. So if we do Lawyer Reacts To Tati, Emily D. Baker, Lawyer Reacts To Tati Westbrook, her company Halo Beauty, or against Halo Beauty lawsuit drama, Emily D. Baker. And then I saw some other lawyers on here as well. Lawyer Reacts To Wine and Chill, Entertainment Law. And then we have, so I don't know what you would call them. They're not drama channels, they're lawyer drama. It's very interesting. At the highest level, as a social media strategist, not with my manager's hat on, but my strategist hat on, I think what we're looking at is society working out or re-articulating its own paradigms. And by paradigms, I mean its boundaries, what's acceptable behavior, what's not. Oh, this influencer sued someone. I think that's good for this reason. I think it's bad for that reason. Marketing people, comms people are naturally averse to anything that's a bit messy, like arguing, debating. However, this is such an important stage for humanity to evolve. We need to start meeting people outside of our own echo chamber. And I know that people say social media is an echo chamber. It's actually not. It's the opposite of an echo chamber. The algorithms have discovered that if we argue with people, we stay longer. I think it's 5 times as long, and we stay 8 to 10 times more engaged. So if you look at some of the data research, sorry, I'm just getting some errors. I'm wondering if I'm going offline in a moment. We've had such a lot of problems with NBN in Australia, Telstra NBN, where I am. And unfortunately, I'm the last house on the road, and I don't even go to the nearest box, which is, I think, about 1 kilometre away. I'm at the second nearest box, so I'm further on. And every engineer has always said to me, that's the furthest that I've ever seen a connection to the NBN. So I tried to get a quote the other day to have the NBN, which is our fibre, brought to the house, and it was $18,000. And I would need to talk the neighbours into it. Both Gary and I live stream. We live stream multiple times a week. We upload videos every other day. I do 5 to 7 Zooms a week, and I need it, but whether I can justify $18,000 to get it, I don't know. What were we talking about? Twitter's future, perhaps how Fox presenters of late are shape-shifting to remain relevant, could be an indicator on how Twitter is going to remain front and centre in people's minds in post-Trump POTUS world. Yeah, I think when I said that Twitter said that they were the most discoverable platform. And I think if you're talking about products and services, no, there's better ones. Instagram almost certainly for a lot of industries, not all, but some, many of them, 80% of them, 75, 80%. But for distribution, like, this is my opinion on what Antifa or what Proud Boys or whatever are doing around politics. I think Twitter definitely would share that better. Who knows? Will Trump remain relevant? Maybe not, but the next guy will be, and the one after. If the Democrats think we're going back to a nicer, more pleasant world, they're in for a shock. This is the teenage years, the early teens of communication in humanity's evolution. And we are getting into the world and we are discovering what it means to debate with people that we don't agree with. Everybody tells everybody else that they're brainwashed, and kids think their parents are brainwashed, and parents think their kids are brainwashed, and it's that teenage years. We're not out of the woods yet. We're not going to suddenly turn into 40-year-old negotiating reasonable people. In fact, things may very well get harder post-Trump. Harder in the sense of stronger. What was I talking about, guys? Blah, 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 blah. Drama channels, lawyers, voice. Yeah. I think if you want to do a drama channel, you want to do a Sean Hannity or Miranda Devine or some kind of an opinionated, let's call them celebrities. I won't call them journalists. They're not journalists in that sense. They're not objective fact-finding people. They're opinion pushers, so they're celebrities. If you take that voice in social media and you decide to be cheeky and irreverent, and there's a few brands that do that. Taco Bell is very good at doing that, and I've seen Woolworths do a little bit as well, our supermarket chain. You kind of have to sustain it. The ones who've sustained it and have been able to move backwards and forwards between almost being a troll in the community and definitely being a bit obnoxious with very serious information, I think are the police services, particularly here in Australia, and then that's been picked up overseas as well. So look to how humorous the police can be and how they control their community. I forget which police account it was, but they put up a post which said wanted for crimes against music, and it was One Direction, I think, and they were basically trolling teenage girls around the world. And that's really funny, and being able to flip from that sort of trolly, entertaining celebrity voice into unfortunately there's been an accident on this road, there's been 3 fatalities, please be safe out there, people. Being able to shift between those voices is incredibly important. But commit to a voice of some kind, and don't go banal, vanilla, corporate if you can help it. I like the fact the lawyers are breaking this up. Whenever I work with lawyers, it's so interesting that they're funny, they're sharp-witted, they're eccentric, a little bit nutty, a little bit cray-cray, a little bit out there. Will they bring that to their social media? Absolutely no way. Absolutely not. That's not how they've been taught to communicate. All right, a couple of other things here. Inno Reader, you really let me down. I'm just going to I did bring in YouTube feeds. So Facebook does something called Facebook dumping, where they take 50 videos and upload them all in the same minute, and then I have to sort through them all. They don't know what a content calendar looks like or how to do target channels on other platforms, so I'm always a bit stuck. There's LinkedIn's YouTube videos. Find a voice that inspires you. We were just talking about voice. By the way, if I ever start something and don't finish it, let me know in the comments if you wanted to know what that all meant. So it is a comments turned off. Obviously not an engagement post. And then they want you to go to their YouTube post. So this is a 30-second trailer. Interesting distribution. this is the hub, and then they will be using LinkedIn and YouTube and competitor platforms as the spokes to drive the traffic back to here. And they've used a video, so image story types, visual story types, to drive people to a text-based, or can I click on this and get non-text? No, it's just photos. Okay. So LinkedIn is really for text story types. If you're watching on LinkedIn and you're watching the videos, congratulations, you are an outlier. One of the reasons why LinkedIn struggles and hasn't really committed to getting the API up and running for live streaming. I'm having to fiddle-faddle to get the API stuff working on LinkedIn. You'll notice that only a few LinkedIn channels are doing well with video. The top channels typically won't be video. Here's an exercise for you. Go through each of these LinkedIn accounts and see how many of them are doing videos. Obviously, if it's something like fine arts or a medium that has a visual audience, then the videos will work better on LinkedIn, because the algorithms, and I can't believe that any platform is ignoring this. It's such a key data set. Is this person a visual story type or a text story type? And on LinkedIn, the majority of people are going to be text story types. And then the question is, out of the small percentage that are visuals, are they seeing the right visual stuff? And they're recognizing this, given the ever-rising role of multimedia in education. Educators themselves may be text story types. They often fit under the academic researcher text story type subset. People who read lots of papers and research, analyze, make notes, paper notes, analog notes. But they know that their audience, the way that people choose to learn, shifts and changes. So short videos, 5 to 8 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. People do watch long videos, but under specific circumstances. And then obviously podcasts for the auditory types. Oh, wittier. So the voice there would be edu, social, entertainment, education, edutainment. That's right, edutainment. That's a really old term. Do you have any questions for me? We've looked at a lot of different things today. We've bounced around. I'm going to stick with Inno Reader a bit longer. I'm going to set it up. By next Monday, I want to have a lot more feeds in here. I may have to go back and purchase another RSS feed reader and then add it into Inno Reader, which is annoying because it's supposed to do it, but I have other feed readers that will work with it. Hey, Greg. See you. I'm finishing up now anyway. It's just my little Monday. So thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. Whoopsie. There you are. And I'll see you next Monday, hopefully. If you have any questions, anybody, wherever you're watching this, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, 2 places on Facebook, and live streaming on YouTube, and you would like me to answer a question. Thursdays I do a full tutorial, how to do a boosted post for politicians, or how to create a social media management dashboard, or blah, blah, blah. Specific targeted walkthroughs. I do those on Thursdays at 1 p.m. Sydney time. Monday is this one, which is the play one, which is social media news, keeping you up to date on everything, a little bit of a rant on a few things, and me testing tech and seeing what's working and what's not. If you have any questions, please let me know in either of those two, and then I will follow up. At the moment, I'm taking most of the questions from my Zoom sessions with clients. obviously not specifically for them or their business, because I'm trying to keep things still like focused on that industry, but not specifically for that company. I mean, I can, if you want to ask me to look at your Facebook page or Twitter account, I'm happy to do that, or hashtag or whatever it is you're doing. I don't know. What am I waffling on about? No idea. Oh, for the people that went ahead and bought Happy Scribe from the Black Friday, I did a live stream on Black Friday and I talked about I was just buying 2 Happy Scribes. I haven't had any luck. It won't read my YouTube channel. They asked me if it's public or private. It's public. It's these videos, and I've sent them messages and zilch, and it's been not. It wasn't last Friday. It was Friday before, so it's been 10 days. So I'm so sorry. I'm sorry that I asked you or suggested that you look at Happy Scribe. I did say I hadn't tried it. I did get back feedback from a couple of people. Hello, Gary, not my partner Gary, the other Gary, who said that he bought it and was happy with it. That's awesome. And I hope that all of you are. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me with no luck, with bad, unhappy Scribe. I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about that one next week and I'll show you if it works or what the issues are and what it should do. If you're not familiar with Happy Scribe, it gives you subtitles, closed captions for all of your videos, and it also can do translation into other languages. So I was very excited to find it, but it didn't work. All right, my loves, I am going to love you and leave you. I'm going to have another coffee, I think. And remember, if you've got any questions, please let me know in the comments. But don't subscribe. If you subscribe, I have to keep doing these. And that's annoying. I just want to do these for a little while while I'm testing everything. And you know what it's like. People subscribe and then YouTube says, oh, people like this. And then they show it to more people and then they like it. And the next thing you know, I think I've got 800 or 900 followers at the moment. It's kind of annoying. Don't do that. All right. Bye.